One.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the October 20th virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver and I'm the current chairman. Hopefully this meeting will unfold as follows. As soon as Sarah Clark, the central permitting coordinator, reads the governor's directives concerning these virtual meetings, we'll do a roll call of the members who are present. We'll be reviewing the applications this afternoon. Immediately after the roll call is done, excuse me, the first order of business will be the minutes. As soon as the minutes are approved, we'll move right on to the applications. And we ask that when our clerk, Sam Stribert, reads your application, that you speak up and let your presence be known if you are the applicant or an applicant's representative. Alrighty, Sarah, can you lead us off?
Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. This meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted remotely in accordance with Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and shall afford adequate alternative means of public access via Microsoft Teams by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 154-993-620 #, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of the meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with the town policy, the public can speak to any issue or hearing or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair.
Thank you, Sarah. As I said, we'll now do a roll call of the members who are present. I believe that's all of them. Darcy Sequin, our vice chairman.
Darcy Sequin is here.
Our clerk, Sam Stribert.
Sam Stribert is here.
Regular member, Bob Burns.
Bob Burns is here.
Regular member, Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan is here.
Our first alternate, Steve DuBois.
Microphone.
Steve DuBois is here. Steve is here.
Very good. And our new second alternate, Janet Whittemore.
Janet Whittemore is here.
All right, and Dan Silver is here. As I said, I'm vice chair and I am present, obviously. All right, now the first order of business, as I said, will be the minutes, and those are of the meeting held October 6th. Are there any comments?
Yes, I'd like to.
Yes, Sam.
I'd like to add a bullet point about halfway down, page 3 of 6. And add, a member thought that, quote, brand company was not appropriate and should be deleted.
Alrighty, anybody else? Comment about the minutes or Sam's suggestion? No? Alrighty then, do I have a motion?
Doug Grattan will make a motion. They accept the minutes with Sam Stribert's adjustment as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. I think we're pretty used to this. We'll go right on to voting. Darcy.
Darcy votes in favor.
Sam Stribert.
Sam Stribert votes to approve.
Bob Burns.
Bob Burns was absent, so I cannot vote.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that, Bob. Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan votes to approve.
Steve DuBois.
Steve DuBois votes to approve.
Janet Whittemore.
Janet Whittemore votes to approve.
And Dan Silver will vote to approve. Bob, we did miss you. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Well, I did watch the whole video, which was very interesting.
Oh, I thought you'd watch Captain Kirk go into space. I didn't know you actually watched that. So anyways.
I watched the video.
All right. Sam, what do we got? What's our first on our plate?
Under the signs category, we have application 21-84, Max Chatham Fish and Lobster, care of McGregor Hay. Application to install a window sign on the entry door located at 1291 Main Street, Unit 1A.
What does the permitting coordinator have to say about the sign, Sam?
Oh, yes. The permitting coordinator states that the proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
All right, do we have the applicant or a representative here?
You have a representative here. I'm Amy Voll from Max Seafood. Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Nice to
Amy.
see you all again.
Good to see you too.
Hi.
What are you up to?
Just recovering from the summer and and moving into the fall, and obviously getting ready to open the new seafood market very, very soon, hopefully in Chatham. So we're pretty excited about that.
All righty, and Sarah, do we have a picture of it for the folks at home?
I can hold it up if you get stuck.
There you go.
While we're waiting, Mr. Chairman, this is the window sign,
Mhm.
and the window sign was out of order in my thing, and the proposed sign coordinator states that the proposed window sign complies with the sign bylaw and the HBDC design guidelines and procedures.
Okay, very good. Why don't we give Sarah a few more minutes?
There we go.
Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, market entrance. Very good. All right, let's start off with, I always start off with Darcy. I feel badly for her.
I knew
Janet,
you
what
would.
have you got to say about this sign?
I think it's a great sign. Just have a question about the color. The printout is a little bit darker than the swatch that you gave us, Amy. Is it going to be what the swatch is or what the actual printout is?
It will be what the swatch is that was provided to you. So we got the swatches directly from the Chatham Sign Company. They're the ones that are going to be producing the sign. And so I apologize if it looks a little darker printed out, but sometimes colors printed out can be a little off. So, but it should be the same exact red and blue that's on the current sign that's hanging up right now. So all the colors will match.
Okay, that was my question, if it was going to be the same red.
Same red, same blue, same and black and white.
That's all I have.
All right. Steve DuBois?
I think it's a fine sign. I think it'll be a nice addition to the building.
Doug Grattan?
Yeah, I like the sign. I have no questions.
Bob Burns?
Nice sign, Amy. I like it very much.
Thank you.
Sam Strivert?
The only question I had is why isn't there a lobster in there?
I think we're kind of going with all of our logos for our different various buildings now. We're kind of going with this basic new design where we have the Max Seafood logo in the middle and, the different locations around. So there just really wasn't, there really wasn't room for a lobster this time around. We might come back at a later date to put an additional lobster someplace on the building, but as part of the sign, we wanted to stay consistent with the other sign that was on the restaurant, which doesn't have any lobster at all. And that's kind of where we were with it. So we just said lobster.
That sounds fine.
It's in the title. Thank you.
I don't have a problem with I did like the part of the older sign where just the letters were colored.
Okay.
I suppose in this sign it's so small that that this doesn't matter.
Okay, Sam?
Yep.
Okay, Darcy?
I already spoke. Thank you.
Okay, I have no problems with it whatsoever either, Dan Silver. All right, Doug, are you still with us?
Doug Grattan is here, and Doug Grattan would like to make a motion under signs, application 21-084, Max Chatham Fish and Lobster, care of McGregor Hay, application to install a window sign on the entry door located at 1291 Main Street, Unit 1A, as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Darcy. Motion has been made and seconded. Last chance for comments or questions. Darcy,
No comments or questions.
Sam Stryver,
No comments or questions.
Bob Burns,
No further comments, questions?
Doug Grattan,
No comments or questions.
Steve DuBois,
I have no further questions.
Janet Whittemore.
No further questions. Thank you.
Dan Silver has no further questions or comments. Ready to vote? All right, Janet Whittemore.
I'm in favor of it. It's a very handsome looking sign.
Thank you,
All
Jim.
right, thank you. Steve DuBois,
I would vote to approve.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes to approve.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns votes to approve.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver votes to approve.
Darcy Sequin,
Darcy Sequin votes to approve.
and Dan Silver votes to approve as well. Thank you. All right, Sam, we'll move on to the next one.
Yes, this is 21-085, Max Chatham Fish and Lobster, care of McGregor Hay. Application to install a roof sign on the structure located at 1291 Main Street, Unit 1A. And this is the one that the sign coordinator has stated that the proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Sam. All righty. So where is she? Where's Amy?
I'm right here.
All
Can you
righty.
see me?
Yes, I
Here I
can.
am.
Sarah, do we have anything for the folks at home? Look at that.
We do there, and I don't know, there was another picture in there where I kind of mocked up, there it is. So what it's gonna look like on the front of the building. And it's right next to the Cape Shark sign that's already up and approved. And again, we're trying to mimic the other sign that was approved last year that went on the restaurant side. So it stayed consistent with the look and feel of the current sign that we have.
Right. Okay. Okay, we'll start with Steve Boyd.
Okay, now it's a good looking sign. I read somewhere though that there was it was going to be lit at night. Is there where are the lighting fixtures?
The lighting fixtures are down below, a little spot, just like exactly the same as last year.
Okay.
They're down below and they shine up on the light.
Okay. Other than that, I think it's a good sign. It matches what's already there, so it's consistent.
And Chatham Sign Shop is also doing the sign. So it's the same shop that did our sign from last year, and they did a wonderful job. So.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Doug Grattan.
I think it looks great. I have no questions.
Okay, Bob Burns.
Amy, one question. The
Sure.
light's going to be two lights shining up?
I believe so. It's gonna be exactly the same as the restaurant sign.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I thought there was a light bar on the restaurant, but maybe not. Maybe so. As long as it's the same, I'm okay
It's the
with
same. Yeah, it's exactly the same as the restaurant sign.
it. And if you can make sure that we had somebody last year when we approved the first sign.
Remember that.
There,
I do remember that. Yes.
The bright lights.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just keep the wattage the same if you can.
Okay, no problem. I will convey that to Mac and make sure it happens.
Okay, thanks, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sam Stryver.
The one that we approved, what did it have this red stripe and blue stripe with the lettering in white?
Yes, it did. It's exactly the same. The only difference really this time around in terms of the lettering, we put a white stripe down the middle that said seafood market to identify that as the seafood market side. The other sign says restaurant on it. So it says Max Chatham Fish and Lobster and then restaurant. And this one says Max Chatham Fish and Lobster Seafood Market. So that's really the only difference, is that white stripe in the middle that says seafood market, just to identify it as obviously different from the restaurant. But the lettering is the same. The
My only
colors are the
concern
same.
is that
Mhm.
the Cape Shark, Cape Shark is a black image on a white background. It's very simple, very direct,
Mhm.
very easy to read from the 40 feet away.
Mhm.
This has a lot of information.
Mhm.
And it, so I'm just concerned about it being too busy and but I think if it's consistent with your other sign, I think identity is more important.
Yeah, it definitely is consistent with the other sign, and that's exactly what we were going for with this one. So you could definitely see the branding of the two different places are very recognizable to be the same company. So, and yeah, really, it's exactly the same.
I don't care about that so much. Is the having the two entities pretty much the same.
I would even say that the lettering is larger, a little bit larger on this sign, because on the other one, it's the same size sign as the other sign. And across the top, it says Max Chatham Fish and Lobster on that top blue bar. And below where the red is, it says restaurant. And it's pretty recognizable from far away from the road, even though the lettering is probably a little bit smaller in where it says Max Chatham in the blue. So I don't think people are going to have an issue identifying this from the road. I think it's going to be okay.
Okay, Sam?
Yep, I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, Darcy?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's that sign is going to offset the other one. I think it's fine. I have no problem with it.
Okay, yeah. I, like Sam, was just a little concerned about the amount and brightness of the red, but we already have it. That's fine with me. So, all righty. Doug.
I mentioned before, are we all set to make a motion, or did you ask Janet?
Yeah. Oh, did I miss you?
Don't rush us, Doug.
I mentioned before I had no problem with the sign.
Okay, very good. All right, you want to make a motion now, Doug?
Has Janet spoken?
Not for this one.
Okay. So Doug Grant will make a motion for application 21-085, Max Chatham Fish and Lobster, care of McGregor Hay, application to install a roof sign on the structure located at 1291 Main Street, Unit 1A, as presented.
Darcy Sequel will second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Give you folks a last chance to make comments or ask questions. Now, let's see. Janet?
I like this sign very much. But there's one little issue that I wanted to speak about, though. And in the application, it says the age of the structure is 39 years old. That's a Greek Revival style building that's been there. You must know that that it's been there forever. I think
a little bit longer than that. Oh.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
I apologize.
That's all right, darling.
I apologize.
I just want to, if we put 39 years, if at least is over 100, they'll have maybe a little more difficult to bring it down. I don't know.
Right.
Well, that was done. That whole complex was done 40 years ago.
What's that?
The whole complex was done 40 years ago. The Greek Revival was moved down off the hill.
Oh,
and
was
added
it,
to
was
that.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that whole thing is 39 years old, yep. The
Oh.
whole shop,
So so the history of the house gets totally wiped out.
yeah.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
That's Mrs. Crowley's house,
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
set up on the hill, right to the
Right.
left, to the east, yep. All righty. Any other comments, Janet?
No, I like the sign very much.
Steve Du Bois?
I have no other comments.
Okay. Doug, you've made your comment, right?
No other comments?
Bob Burns?
Burns, no other comments.
Sam Stribert?
No further comments from Sam Stryber.
Okay. Darcy Sequin?
Darcy Sequin, no comments.
Dan Silva, no further comments or questions. Ready to vote, folks? All right, we go Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan votes in favor?
Bob Burns?
Bob Burns in favor.
Sam Stribert?
Sam Stryber's in favor.
Darcy Sequin?
Darcy Sequin in favor.
Janet Whittemore?
Janet Whittemore in favor.
Steve Du Bois?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
And Dan Silva's in favor as well. I got you right, Doug?
Yes, you did.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, we'll pass. Very good, Amy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
You bet. Thank
everyone.
you.
I'm gonna sign off. Enjoy Oktoberfest this
Oh,
weekend.
thank you. I hope you get the camera
All
fixed.
right. I'm gonna
See you
try.
soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I know.
Bye.
Sam?
Site improvements, 21-83. Jesse Carlton, application to install an outdoor kitchen, a fireplace, and mechanical equipment located at 279 Crowell Road.
All righty. And who do we have here?
Dan, I am going
Yes.
to recuse myself and not be a participant to this
Oh, all right.
application.
All right.
All right?
Sure. Sure. All righty. We'll just note that.
How you doing this?
For now. Yep.
How are you, Jesse Carlton, presenting
Jesse.
for application? How are you?
Good. I understand you're on phone only. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, good. All righty. So, looks like you got something going on here, huh?
Yeah, looking to add some hardscape, essentially the outdoor kitchen with a grill, some stainless steel drawers, and an outdoor fridge. That's going to be a veneered fieldstone with a granite countertop, and then we have a raised hearth fireplace that's also a veneered stone with blue stone.
Okay, now it also says mechanical equipment. I was curious as to what that was, Jesse.
That's just the AC condensers, and they're tucked away on the outside. Standard, typical on concrete slab, with some drainage stone around them.
All right. Were those approved before in the landscaping? I'm trying to remember.
I don't believe they were on the initial plan, and that's why they're on this application.
Okay.
But I mean, they're fairly standard AC units,
Right.
and they're
Okay.
tucked away as best as possible.
All righty. Yeah. Usually, don't be surprised. Usually, there's some foliage or something that we, like to see, but we'll find out what they have to say. All right. Sam, start us off.
Is there a site plan? In other words, how visible is this monstrosity?
Sarah, do you have the landscape plan that I submitted?
No.
I do not actually have it in the file. Jesse, did you email it to me? Because I can stop sharing and look it up real quick.
Sure.
I
Just
did
take-
email.
Okay, give me
Take a
one
minute.
moment, please.
So, one question I can ask is it right in front, visible from the road, right in front of the house? Or is it in the backyard?
It's the AC units. They're in the backyard, up against the hill that leads up to the adjacent cemetery.
Yeah.
They're not visible from the street. They're not visible from the side yard, the backyard there. As you can see, if you get the site plan pulled up,
Well, what about
you really have to be.
its cooking and fireplace? Oh,
There
there
we
we go.
go.
So this is a panhandle lot.
Correct.
This is the and this is higher up, higher than the road.
Correct. This is the back lot. 269 Crowell Road is the front house. So this is, essentially the lot behind that lot that's on the street on Crowell. So
on the panhandle side, there's a house,
Yep.
basically. So you'd have to, in order, I just don't want cars stopping while you're cooking dinner. Wanting a hot dog or something. So it looks like it's pretty well screened from the road.
yeah, it's set back from the road. It also has, rows of Leland cypress trees up against the property line. So it's not going to be very visible from anywhere but inside the property.
Okay. Well, I see in plan a small the stone fireplace, but this masonry seemed to be much wider than what you're showing. Does the masonry go all the way to the sides of the stone face? I don't know.
Sarah, do you have the pictures of the
Yeah.
the proposed fireplace?
That I do. It's up on the screen right now.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see it's a raised hearth fireplace, and then to the left and right of the fireplace is wood storage, and then a center chimney.
Okay.
What are the dimensions?
Question.
It's 10 feet. Yeah, 10 feet wide.
And how tall?
I think it's 8 feet.
Okay.
Still with us, Jesse?
Jesse, can I make a suggestion that the lower roof, the lower pieces of sloping bluestone be at the same pitch as the upper pieces? It looks a little fragile where the arch springs. It looks just too thin there. It looks a little fragile. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yep.
Do we still have Jesse?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Bob Burns?
Yeah, one question. Jesse, is this a prefab structure?
It is not. It's something that we will build in the field.
And then the stone, there's blue stone on the caps, but what's the actual stone in color?
The field will be veneered field stone, and then the caps and the raised hearth are blue stone.
So it's going to be veneer on cement?
Cement block. Yep.
Veneer on cement. Okay. No further questions.
Okay, Doug Grattan?
Hi, Jesse. Yeah, I think it looks sharp. So this is wood burning fireplace here.
That's correct.
Okay. And is the cooking area, would that be piped in natural gas or is that a propane tank?
That is hard pipe natural gas.
I think it looks good and it'll be a great backyard and can't wait to go swimming.
Okay, Doug?
All set, thank you.
Yeah, Steve DuBois?
Thank you.
I have no further questions. All my questions have been asked.
Janet?
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay. I think all the questions have been asked. I've got no problems with the location. It does seem very large, but, it's not in scale to anything. So, the house next to it or anything, so it's difficult to really tell. But anyways, okay. Doug?
Doug Grant would like to make a motion for site improvements. 21-083, Jesse Carlton. Application to install an outdoor kitchen, fireplace, and mechanical equipment located at 279 Crowell Road as presented.
Thank you, Doug.
I'll second the motion.
All right, Sam has seconded the motion. So motion has been made and seconded. All right, last chance for questions or comments. Darcy? Oh, you're not doing this, are you? Sam Streiber?
Sam Streiber votes to approve.
Okay. This is questions or comments, all right?
Oh,
Bob
question.
Byrne,
So I have no further comments. Sorry.
Bob Burns, no further questions.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grant, no further questions?
Steve DuBois,
I have no further questions.
Janet Moore.
The only thing I was concerned about is that we weren't given any sense of the measurements or the size on the plans, and I would think that the town would want to know that, right? They could probably add them later, but that's just, it seems like when you submit something like that, you have to have the size and everything. I don't know. I don't know.
You're
It
absolutely
doesn't
right.
look like we're going to see it anyway, from what they show with all the Lelands and everything. But it seems as if that should have been something that would have been part of the presentation. I don't know. That's just a comment.
Sounds good.
Yes. What we can do is ask Doug to amend his motion such that the applicant turn in scaled drawings of the 2 units. Would that help, Janet?
I think that the town should probably have that. I know, they keep pretty detailed records. They have
Yeah,
a whole
okay.
topographical map of my backyard.
And what they've done is submit to the HPDC, and then put dimensions on it to submit to the building permit.
I see. Okay. All right.
All right, Doug, do you want to amend your motion such
Do you
that?
want me to, Jan? Is it necessary that I do, or is that handled by the building
Yeah, just
department?
to amend the motion such that the applicant turn in a set of drawings to scale.
I will amend the motion that the applicant provides drawings with measurements and scale to the board.
Very good. Thank you. All right, is there a second on that amendment?
Second, but
Okay. Motion has been made and amended and seconded. So now we'll have any further comments about the amendment or the motion. All right, let's see. Sam Streiber,
no further comments.
Bob
I will be
Burns,
voting.
No further comments.
Doug Grattan,
No further comments?
Steve DuBois,
No further comments.
Janet Whitmore.
No comment.
Okay, and Dan Silva has no further comments. Ready to vote, folks? All right, Sam Streiber,
Sam Streiber votes to approve, still votes to approve.
you there with us, Sam?
Yep.
You vote to approve?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Sam votes to approve. Bob Burns,
Burns votes to approve.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grant votes to approve?
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer votes to approve.
Janet Whitmore,
Janet Whittemore votes to approve.
and Dan Silva votes to approve as well. Thank you so much, folks. Very good, Jesse. All right. All right, Sam, we're down.
All right,
to-
thank you. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Jesse.
We have an administrative approval / extension, 21-082, Puritan Clothing, care of Cape Cod Roofing and Siding, ratification of certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof and partial siding on the structure located at 573 Main Street.
Very good. Who went down there? Did anybody know? Sarah?
This one was Darcy and Bob.
I figured. The
This-
usual suspects, yeah.
Yep, usual suspects. This is the roof section, or one of the roof sections that's being replaced.
Wow.
Yeah, they needed it.
Really tough shape, and this is the siding. It's interior and not visible from really any location, definitely not from Main Street.
Very good.
So it's the inside of that area that
Oh,
will be,
okay.
behind.
Oh, yeah,
The-
gotcha. Yeah.
all that's being replaced.
Okay, very good. All righty. Doug?
Are you looking to make a motion?
What motion would you like to make, Doug?
All right, Doug Grant will make a motion for administrative approval / exemption for 21-082 Puritan Clothing, care of Cape Cod Roofing and Siding, ratification of certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof and partial siding on the structure located at 573 Main Street as presented.
Thank you.
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. I'm just gonna go on to vote with this unless, does anybody have any questions about this at all? No? All right, we'll go on to vote. Darcy,
Darcy Seacon in favor.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver votes in favor.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns approves.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes in favor.
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer votes in favor.
Janet Whittemore,
Janet Whittemore votes to approve. Look at that baby.
Dan Silver vote approved as well. All right, one more, right?
21-086 Monomoy Youth and Family Center, care of Robert Stello. Ratification of certificate of exemption to replace the existing escape stairs on the structure located at 166 Depot Road.
Okay, is Bob here?
This was Bob and Darcy as well.
Yep.
This was an exemption for maintenance because they were required by both the building and fire department to replace the secondary access.
Right, I was wondering why this was on our agenda, Sarah. So is it been, have any idea what's going on? Is it being replaced with like kind or?
Being replaced exactly the same. The only slight difference is the original set of stairs didn't have the proper rise and run.
Oh, all right.
So
Yeah,
they
that.
weren't up to code, so they are being replaced in the same material, but they will meet the building code.
Okay, well, that's good. So we're only voting on the material because we haven't got anything to say about this, really.
Correct.
All right. All right, Doug, do you want to make a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion under administrative approval / exemption. Application 21-086 Monomoy Youth and Family Center, care of Robert Stello. Ratification of the certificate of exemption to replace the existing escape stairs on the structure located at 166 Depot Road as presented.
Do we have a
Darcy
second?
Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. All right, ready to vote. Here we go. Janet Whittemore?
I approve.
This is question and answers.
Oh, no,
questions or
sorry. No,
comments? Okay. Steve DuBois,
I have no further questions.
Doug Grattan,
I have no further questions.
Bob Burns,
One comment, these stairs are in very bad shape. They're wobbly, so this is good that it's being done.
good, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver has no questions.
Darcy Sequin,
No questions.
okay, Dan Silver doesn't have any questions either, okay. Okay, Darcy,
Darcy Seacon votes in favor.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver votes in favor.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns votes in favor.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes in favor.
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer votes in favor.
Jan Whittemore,
Jan Whittemore votes in favor.
Dan Silver votes in favor as well. Thank you. Well, you got through that, folks. Now we have just other business. Sarah, is Katie with us tonight?
Katie is with us.
Alrighty. Is she going to introduce the commission? The Cape Cod?
I am.
Oh, you are?
I am. Yes. Thank you
Oh, there
very
you are.
much.
Okay.
Here I
All
am.
right. Katie,
Okay,
you
thank
had a
you.
comment
Thank you.
about this before, yeah? So what's up?
Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. We're back before you tonight after our presentation a couple of weeks ago to hear comments and concerns or questions about the proposed West Chatham draft zoning bylaw. So also joining us tonight are members of the Cape Cod Commission. I believe we have Chloe Schaefer, Sarah Korjeff, Elizabeth Kellum, and I'm not sure if Martha Heavener is here or not, but she may be joining us. We also have with us tonight two members of the Planning Board, our Chair, Catherine Halpern, and our Vice Chair, Art Sprue, in case there's specific questions that the Planning Board members could answer. Our intent for tonight is not to make another presentation, but perhaps we thought it would be best to hear from individual commission members about questions, comments, or concerns that they have so that we can relay those back to the Planning Board, or hopefully if any questions we can answer tonight, would be happy to do so.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie. Well, let's start this off. We'll start with someone experienced. Darcy?
No, I think it was a very good presentation, very well thought out, and I have no questions or comments at this point.
Great.
All right. Sam?
So one of the interesting things about this presentation is the building form aspects and I probably have to read it again to fully come to be familiar enough to make, but it's sort of on the last 2 pages is a building height category where 2 stories are maximum, not to exceed 30 feet. And then there's a subnote about 2.5 stories. Well, that half story, I think, is probably defined in the zoning document as a certain percentage of the floor below it. If it's not, that it should be specified. But one thing you do say is that the distance from the eave to the face of the dormer could be 5 feet. I've forgotten where you said that. 5 feet dormers, 5 foot minimum setback for all eaves. In other words, so you push the wall of the dormer, and these are doghouse dormers as you depicted, but people will build shed dormers. If they go back 5 feet and the pitch of the roof is more than 6 and 12, or like 8 and 12, pretty soon you've covered up the window area with roof.
Okay.
So you really have to look at a section of this before you kind of put some minimums and maximums. I usually do dormers 2 feet, 1 and 2 feet back from the face of the wall below it, and that makes the dormer small enough. If you put the dormer wall over the street-facing wall, then the dormers tend to loom over the space below. So that would be my recommendation. I need to find in here the definition of the half story, or look it up again, just to make sure. Because that would, if it's pushed back 5 feet, that's going to minimize the amount of space under the dormer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be difficult. And what it'll do is it'll push the back wall of any dormer that's on the back right up against in an inappropriate place. It will make that dormer too high over the space below it. They'll just put it over the wall. So I think that's one thing. But in this page is really a simple. I mean, I see that you take the eave of the roof and pull it around the sidewall instead of stopping it in a little pigeon roost, which I think is not a good thing. But I like the door. I like the in the body of the report. I like the little gable dormer in front of a gable form, a gable front entrance, or a gable. I guess you call it a primary facade that comes out as gabled, and then that attaches to that is a good form. That tends to break the scale down more thoroughly than the little picture that's in the back here. So anyway, those are my two comments. Some of the I have to kind of simulate a particular type of construction and play it off of whether it'll be accomplished. Minimum lot size, lot frontage, lot coverage. So I have to look at those a little more thoroughly, but it's way ahead of what was in second place.
Great, thank you. Mr. Chairman, would you mind if I just ask if the Cape Cod Commission would want to respond to anything or has any comments?
Anybody want to respond to what Sam had to say? Yep.
Hi, it's Sarah Korjeff, and I just start by saying thank you for those comments. I think that you caught an important issue in terms of the dormer setback. I think we were initially thinking about the setback from the sides of the roof,
Right.
but it makes sense for us to look more closely at that and also to make sure that the illustrations are clear. I will say in terms of the half story, we don't define that in the draft zoning yet. I think maybe the town has a definition of that in their existing zoning. And if the planning board decides that it is appropriate to allow 2.5 stories, then I think we'd want to make sure we're consistent in that way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Bob? Bob, your mic is muted.
I guess I missed the first presentation when this was initially presented.
That's right, you were, I'm sorry.
Is there a current West Chatham zoning bylaw?
The current zoning in West Chatham is GB3, General Business 3.
Okay.
So there's no specific zoning to West Chatham. It's the GB3 is the same in all of the GB3 locations.
Okay, so this is in more detail, and I think it's pretty comprehensive. So I like the presentation and what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can.
Sam, yeah.
One thing you should know about GB3 is that the minimum road setback is 60 feet, I think. It's either 50 or 60 feet.
Right.
It's 50 feet. So that's strip mallitis right there. That as soon as you push back 50 feet or 60 feet, you get 2 rows of parking, and a center thing. It's just asking for strip road. So, and that's why West Chatham looks the way it does right now. And so coming around to this, which is so building pulled up against the street, has a benefit, so much benefit of making the place that as you go through West Chatham, you go through an area that will have buildings on it rather than cars. So it becomes a place worth stopping. It becomes a place that you slow down driving through because there's things to look at. This is so much going to help West Chatham become a major, a strong contributor to our commercial area, our towns.
Thank you, Sam. Bob, you were all, any other questions, Bob?
No, that's it. And Sam's comment about the, getting away from the 60 feet, I think that's really good.
Doug Grattan?
I have no questions currently.
Of course.
Okay. Steve DuBois?
I'm very impressed with a lot of the aspects of what's being proposed here. But I'm concerned that with the number of existing buildings, it's going to take a long time before, any of this comes to fruition, I think, unless some of those buildings start getting knocked down or picked up and moved. So, I would like to see it happen, but it may be some time. The one question I had, and I looked at this several times and I couldn't figure it out. It's actually on page 20 of the presentation. It deals with the parking setback. And I read this a few times and I couldn't figure it out through my head. The minimum road setback is 10 feet, and I understand that for the facade of the building. But then the parking setback is 10 feet behind the facade of the building. So does that mean the building's only 10 feet wide? I couldn't figure this out.
I'll be happy to try to answer that. So the whole idea is to make sure that the buildings are the closest to the road and that the parking can never be closer to the road than the buildings. And so in order to really enhance the building's presence or make that the more prominent element, the parking always has to be at least 10 feet further back from the road than the front of the building. It doesn't have to be actually behind the structure. It just has to be set 10 feet further back from the road than your building face.
Okay, so like maybe it could possibly be along the side of the building.
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. And when you take a look, when you see the full draft zoning document, it actually at the end has a few graphics that help to really illustrate that, and those should answer any of those questions.
Okay. But other than that, I look forward to seeing some of this take place, hopefully soon. But it's a nice plan, and I think it'll help West Chatham quite a bit. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. If I could just make a quick follow-up comment related to your statement that it will take a long time. That's definitely true. I think we expect that with any zoning change, that it will take some time before it will really have a dramatic impact on an area. But the sooner you start, the sooner you can start to see that change. And I will note that this draft zoning does include some provisions that recognize existing non-conforming structures and make it a little bit easier for them to make slight improvements that come closer to meeting the goals of the zoning without actually having to do a demolition and rebuild. And there are some simpler review processes that folks can have if they're willing to make some forward steps, such as adding a frontage building or improving the landscaping in the front, that sort of thing.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Was that Steve?
Yes, that was just Steve. Yes.
That was you, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't cross you off here. I'm sorry. Janet? Janet?
I have no questions.
Okay, Dan Silver here. I do have a comment and a question. I appreciate the effort that's being put into this, and I understand your goal. I appreciate the work. My only concern is that many times people have tried to recreate things that just don't work. nobody's ever going to recreate Woodstock again, and you're never going to recreate downtown Chatham, the walking section of it. That just happened. So I'm afraid that too strict or too specified redistricting or rules and regulations for a project like this are just going to create a cookie cutter mess. I don't think it should include so many details as the Doma set off. So I'm afraid that all the houses are going to end up looking the same. I think that should be left to the HPDC to approve and not approve any structures that are in that area outside of the 2-story or 2.5-story. So anyways, outside of that, I think it's good intentions. I hope it works. I don't know what it's going to do to the businesses in that area. I don't know if people are really going to walk that area. If they were going to walk that area, that would have been a walking area, in my opinion, at this point. So we shall see. But anyways, again, I want to thank you for your efforts. That's all I had to say.
Thank
I
you.
guess if I could just ask one last question of the board. One of the things that the planning board is grappling with is the appropriate width of facades for new structures in the district. And I don't know, I know that's something that you would be reviewing under the HBDC. And as I stated when we made our original presentation, really the goal is to have this zoning be consistent with the goals of the HBDC to make it a little bit easier for you to, and for applicants to understand what's required in the area. But I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about whether the maximum facade width of buildings in this new zone should be 75 feet or less, or whether there should be 50 feet or less, and just as comment to the planning board.
Well, that's a good question. I would take one of the double applicant that we had tonight, which was Chatham Max Seafood. I don't know how long that building is, but I think it certainly exceeds everything that you mentioned. That building was deemed appropriate for the historic, so I don't know. Again, I'm afraid that boxing people in. But anyways, let's see what the commission has. Darcy, do you have any? No, she's gone, right? Sam, do you have any comments on that?
Well, I mean, it's all in how the pie is made, because the proportions are going to be the hallmark of how well any new building is received. And so, what if somebody really goes in there, and starts to do a ship ahoy, or that whole piece, or the Oppenheim Center must be 75, at least, well over 50. So I would say that since this is an HBDC district, that that the mere length of the building is not really the critical thing. It's how the streetscape is divided into proportional units that are harmonized with each other, just like the Village Market and CVS, that it goes together in a coherent whole. So I would hesitate to put something on it that maybe, the guy's 76 feet. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So hopefully there's a way to relieve, if the lot is big enough for it. How big is the job lot? It must be over 50 feet. So
Yeah, I believe the job lot building is 100 and some odd square feet.
Not going to have a big box store put in, but we'd like to see if a group of stores goes in, maybe 75 is okay.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, Sarah, too, what I was going to say is we have Eldridge Garage coming up. I've forgotten how long that building was. We also have the inn that is next to it, to the east, quite a long building. We have Chatham Village Market and CVS downtown that is quite wide and long. I think the more appropriate question is, how long should a single wall be? Like, I agree 100% with Sam. If you had a 200-foot building that was broken up appropriately, it would not be, my estimation would not be incorrect for the district. So again, I think that's where we're trying to specify too much, without taking each case individually. I don't know if that helped you, Sarah. I hope it does.
It does. Thank you for those comments. I appreciate it.
So no, I couldn't agree more with Sam on that one. Yeah, even the old, even the Main Street School. I don't know how long that building is. If you take the addition in the back, that's quite a long building. So I really couldn't say. I know you're looking for an answer tonight. 75, 100, 50, 75, 100. I don't know.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I do think that's helpful, that you don't necessarily think that 50 is too small or 75 is too large. I think that's helpful for the planning board to hear, and to hear the additional comments that you had. So
yeah, I think I agree with Sam that basically that each case ought to be taken on its own merits, because it would also depend on how high they're going to be. So I mean, a 100-foot building that was two and a half stories is quite impressive building. Anyway.
Mr. Chairman, Catherine Halpern, the planning board chair, has her hand raised. Do you mind if she speaks for a moment?
No, I don't have her on my screen, so I'm sorry I didn't recognize her. Thank you very much, Katie.
Thank you. This is Catherine, not a problem. I actually just wanted to agree with what Katie just said. I think it is very helpful to hear what you've, without specifying a length, but that you're saying because this is an HBDC district, that just to hear that your perspective, that you don't want to box things in too much, that it is more an issue of how the facade is presented and how the proportions are presented. Mr. Strybert, I really appreciate your perspective on that and your comments on that. And I think it will be very helpful for the planning board to hear that feedback. So thank you very much.
Thank you. One last thing, Sam, do you remember how long, Bob or anybody familiar with that building that's out behind or next to the post office? Do you remember how long that new proposed building is?
I think Sarah would know.
Sarah still with us? Sarah Clark?
I'm still here. Which building?
The one that's going out behind or beside the post office, Sarah. That long one that we just, with the apartments.
Behind Cape Associates.
Oh, give me a couple minutes and I can tell you exactly what that is.
All right, you got a couple of minutes.
It benefits from having the end as its principal elevation.
Right, it does. You're right, Sam. But I'm just trying to think of how I mean, it's still presented up the road to.
Four units is probably 4 units that are probably wider than 20 feet each, so that would be 60 feet.
Well, while we're waiting for Sarah, again, I would suggest that we don't box people in too much or get too specific.
I have a question. Doesn't the town
Certainly,
have,
Janet.
I'm sorry, doesn't the town have regs about the size of the lot and what, the area that can be covered on that lot, or does it differ with the business? I don't know. It's another question for Sarah.
Katie?
We certainly have our zoning regulations that regarding lot coverage and such, but these new regulations in West Chatham will replace what's currently there. And so again, if you'll recall back to the presentation a couple of weeks ago, we had done a survey. We had a survey that we had up online, and we also did a community forum. And so part of the feedback that we had gotten was that people didn't necessarily want to see facades longer than 75 feet. And so that was basically what helped us to craft the draft bylaw as it was. So again, there are other zoning requirements that will continue to be in place, but this was just something, and that's where the 75 feet came from. Not sure if Sarah Kordjeff wants to weigh in at all on that.
I don't feel like we need too much more explanation, but it is true. I mean, obviously, this zoning would have to be consistent with existing, other zoning regulations, and I think an important element that we talked about last time was the fact that the HBDC would still have review over any projects in this area, and so your ability to look at design issues would not be affected by the zoning, other than hopefully the fact that applicants would be coming to you with designs that are a little closer to what you're looking for based on these new building setbacks and parking setbacks and other similar dimensional regulations.
Yeah, and I have to say, it makes me more comfortable feeling that the regulations that you are composing have more to do with just lot coverage, and layout rather than building design. I think you're doing a great job with that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So I just scaled the site plan, and that building is approximately 125 to 130 feet in length.
Well, very good, thank you. So that gives me a perspective as to how long something is. Yes. All righty. Very good. All right, Sarah Kay and Katie, have you got enough to go home with? I hope it was all positive.
I certainly think we do. I mean, we certainly appreciate your time. We appreciate your review, and certainly are open, if you want to provide additional comments at any point in time to the planning board, that would be welcome. Our next step now is that we'll go to the Zoning Board of Appeals through a similar process, and then bring the comments back to the planning board, at which point in time we'll likely have a public input session. So there's certainly additional time if there's anything else you'd like to comment on. So.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
So thank you very much again.
Great, thank you very much for your comments. And again, if you have additional thoughts, would be happy to hear them at any time.
Thank you. Does anybody else on the commission have any last comments before we sign off, or adjourn? No? All right, last chance. Very good. All right, thank you, Katie, and thank you, Kate. Sarah, rather, I'm sorry.
Thank you all very much.
And Sarah Clark,
thank
very
you
much for taking your time to scale that out. That did help tremendously, me anyways. All right, so we got through all that, folks. Does anybody want to make a motion? Anybody at all?
I move that we adjourn.
Very good. Is there a second?
Steve DeBoer will second that.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. I don't think there's any discussion about it. Darcy's not back with us, and I don't think she's going to be. Bob Burns?
No further discussion.
Doug, are you still here? You're gone too, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's gone. All right, Steve DuBois?
I will vote to adjourn.
And Janet Whittemore?
I vote to adjourn.
All right, Dan Silva votes to adjourn. Hey, how about that? Both alternates got to vote tonight.
So you can record that I vote to adjourn.
All right,
With Sam's vote, we are officially adjourned at 5:39 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you.